There are many arguments that this should have been Suharto's last 5 years. It should have been a transition period, especially after the wife had died. Unfortunately, there were too many people who relied on Suharto for their power, not least the kids who had their fingers in lots of pies. The first major event in this period was in 1995, when Indonesia held its 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Unusually, I would say that it was actually very low key, which surprised me. I thought for the 50th it would be huge events, but actually it was almost the same as any other year. Maybe because of austerity, maybe because people were just not feeling the vibes. In 1996, Ibu Tin died. We're not certain of how. The official reason is a heart attack. One thing I do remember is that at least for 3 days, her face was on all the television programs. There was a full week of mourning. This took a lot out of Suharto and in fact diminished his power in many ways. Also in 1996, the PDI headquarters near Menteng was attacked by government soldiers. A lot of people were killed. In 1997, we had the Banjarmasin massacre, where over 100 people died. Also, the rupiah started to devalue because of the Asian crisis. It was dubbed Krismon. At the beginning, I believe the rupiah was approximately 3,000 rupees. By 1998, it was at a peak of 17,000 rupees per dollar. In May 1998, mass demonstrations hit many cities in Indonesia. Prior to the Trisakti riots were to hit in places like Medan. People were killed, but it was specifically the Trisakti riots that triggered the downfall of Suharto. 4 students were shot dead, and Suharto at the time was in Egypt. He flew back, but he was to resign on May the 21st. In 1997, early, I would say that the economic boom was at its zenith. Robust economic growth, often driven by foreigners investing, export-orientated policies, infrastructure development helped actually bolster Suharto's legitimacy. However, the Asian financial crisis of 1997, which started in Thailand, exposed deep structural weaknesses in both the economy, with crony capitalism and an over-reliance on foreign debt, and of course, a lack of transparency. As I stated earlier, the rupiah plummeted within approximately 6 months from 3,000 rupiah to 17,000 rupiah per dollar. Millions of Indonesians fell into poverty. Public confidence was totally wiped out, and Suharto's legitimacy, it went into free fall. People were very unhappy with the regime. This crisis led to what we call the Reformasi, headed by Amin Rais. Intellectuals, students came on board demanding a change, if not of regime, in the sense of a change in direction. Added to this mix were Suharto's children. They were running amok really, and no checks, no balances. They took up greedy positions. For example, monopolies in clothes, monopolies in alcohol, monopolies in cars. They just couldn't get enough. and people became very angry. I was actually on the road to downtown, on the toll road, on the day of the major Trisakti incident. In fact, the students had been on the toll road for many days. I got to, I think it was the British Embassy, and there were the pictures. Police were shooting into the crowd. 4 students were killed. There was no way back for Suharto then. Rioting became out of hand, especially the Chinese, the ethnic Chinese minority. They were definitely hit hardest. A lot of their businesses were burnt. There were rapes and murders. It was quite a horrific, not just one day, but 3 or 4 days. The police had left the city, abandoned it, and it was only through the army that some semblance of normality came and returned. And remember, this wasn't just in Jakarta, Surakarta, Medan, it was throughout Indonesia. At this time, Suharto was at a G7 meeting in Egypt, but he cut the meeting short. He came back, but he knew that his position was untenable. He was to resign on May the 21st, 1988, with almost 21 years in power. I do hope that you're enjoying these videos on Suharto, and my last final video next week will look at life after presidency, and I'll also give my conclusion on the Suharto years. Thanks for watching.